Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad you're all here this afternoon where we're going to have a press conference announcing the candidates who will be contesting the 2015 general elections on June 8th. I'll now hand it over to the Supervisor of Elections, Ms. Juliet Penn, who will update you accordingly.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming at such short notice. Thank you. In the district, we had a total of 26 nominations, and in the territorial, we had a total of 16. I can run down the way that they came in. For the National Democratic Party, seats were contested in all 9 districts, as well as 4 at-large members. For the Virgin Islands Party, seats were contested in all 9 districts, as well as the territorial at-large. For the PEP Party, 1 seat was contested in the 2nd district, that's Mr. Elford Parsons, and then we had at the at-large, we had a total of 3 persons for PEP. Mr. Alvin G. Christopher, Mr. Natalio Shawande Weekly, and Mr. Larry Reimer. For the People's Empowerment Party as well, we had Miss Faye Juliana Reese in the 9th district. For the People's Progressive Coalition, in the territorial at large, Edmund Gregory Maduro, Ishmael Bratwith, and Coy Smith. For our independent candidates, in the 1st district, we had Mr. Preston Stout. In the 5th district, Shabazz Abdul. In the 6th district, Dion Jennings. And in the 9th district, we had Albert Weekly, Stephanie Faulkner Williams, and Vernon Vanterpool. In the territorial at large, our independent candidates are Dancia Penn, Raul Richard Hannibal. Those are the persons. I don't know if you want me to call the names of the persons for the parties as well. I don't think that is necessary. Okay. Are there any questions?
Gordon French from Levi Platinum. How would you describe the entire day process? Do you think it was smooth, and what were your expectations coming in on the day? Were they matched at the end of the day?
I think the whole process went smoothly. I didn't have any complaints from my returning officers. The only complaint I had is what perhaps the time should be shortened, and because all of the candidates, or most of the candidates, were nominated before 12 this afternoon, with the exception of Mr. Weekly, Shawanda Weekly, who came in at about basically 3:30, 3:45. But all the other candidates were there before 12 o'clock. The day went as I would think it went as I expected. There was only one person that was not out there who had declared that actually was nominated today, and that was Mr. Larry Reimer. There was no indication, as far as I know, that he was going to be a candidate in this election.
And what about reports that some candidates were not allowed, or the nomination was torn down or something like that? You heard something about that. Is that true?
I am not aware of that.
I'm Kathy Richards of Virgin Islands News Online. This year it seems to have had a whole lot more women than that is customary.
Right.
Is it a fact? And if
That is
so,
a fact.
By what percentage, how many women we have running, if you can give me, for district and territorial separately?
Well, there are a whole lot of women this time. Usually I have 1 or 2 women, but this time it seems to have a lot more than that. In the first district, we had Shayna Mary Ann Smith from the National Democratic Party. We didn't have any, there are no women in the second district, no women in the third. Then we have Joanne Roxy Romney in the fourth. In the fifth, we have 2 women, Walcott Macmillan Zoe, or Zoe Walcott Macmillan, and Dolores Christopher. In the sixth, we have Alvaro Maduro Keynes. Seventh, Olivine Pickering Maynard. There are no women in the eighth, and there are 2 women in the ninth, Faye Juliana Reese and Stephanie Faulkner Williams.
And on the, those are for
At the-
district.
at the district, sorry. At the territorial, we have some women here. Sherry D. DeCastro from the Virgin Islands Party, Irene Penn O'Neill, Virgin Islands Party, Charmaine Roseanne Barnberry from the Virgin Islands Party, and then we go down to, there are no women on the National Democratic Party for the territorial at large. There are no women from the People's Progressive Coalition. And then there are no women from the People's Empowerment Party. And then we have Miss Dancia Penn, who is an independent candidate.
Will there be any changes to the voting process this year? I mean, in terms of anything new?
Well, we are asking persons to walk with some sort of identification, passport, voters, we do not have the voters card, unfortunately. Passport, driver's license, belongers card, any government issue ID that they may have.
So persons who don't have a formal government ID, are they going to be able to vote?
Yes, they will be. We cannot disenfranchise them because of the because we're not having the cards. Because the law says if you don't have a card, you should not be disenfranchised. So we are using the ID in the case in the instead of the voter's card. So we cannot disenfranchise anyone. But we're asking people as much as possible to walk with it. Even if it's an expired passport, walk with it. We just want to put a picture to a face.
I was hearing something today, I don't know if it's a fact, as it relates to how you mark on your ballot. It's my information that touching the edge of the box is not a disqualification any longer once the X is, there's a cross to the center of
That is correct. That is correct. So I am marking my ballot, and it is to be marked with a pencil. Okay? So this is it. Good. And can I say something? This is the this is for the territory, so for the district. So in the district, you're allowed to have 1 vote. I will now mark a territorial ballot. This is what the territorial ballot, if you exercise your right to use all 4 votes, this is what it should look like. If we mark 5, it will be rejected. Okay? You can vote for up to 1 person, 2, 3, but not more than 4. Okay, in the territorial.
And will these ballots be counted by hand, or are we going to be able to be scanning them?
No, the ballots will be counted by hand. We are not changing that one. So I will show you what a spoiled ballot is supposed to be now. You mark on the symbol to work without the line. That's a spoiled ballot. If you mark with a pen too. Anything else?
Explain with a spoiled how they could get a new one.
Oh, this would be a rejected ballot, sorry, not a spoiled one, rejected. A spoiled ballot is when you on actual voting day, when you're voting, and you go in and you do that, perhaps you mark twice and you weren't sure, and you say, well, that's not what I want, and you can take it back to the presiding officer, and you will be given a new one. And spoiled will be marked across this, and you'll be given a new one and be asked to go back and make your thing. These here are called rejected because these would be anyone that is not good on the night of the counting will be called a rejected ballot. That's what this would be.
I know the last time there were some concerns about the voting process in Seacoast, where there is one polling station. Will that be changed this time around?
We are having 2 polling stations in Seacoast. We were using the Ebenezer Thomas Primary School, and we're going to be using 2 separate classrooms. Okay? So persons from A to M would go to polling station number 1, and persons from N to Z will go to polling station number 2. And we are hoping that would speed up the process and you won't have the long lines all day. We would also have 2 polling stations in Roetown, Easton, and Vargas Bay. That's where we anticipate that the heaviest flow of traffic would be.
When you say 2 polling stations in Roetown, same location?
Same location. Everything would be at the same location, but 2 different lines going to two different places at the same time.
Okay. And you mentioned just now you weren't going to do the counting by machines.
Yes.
Is that because of time or is it because of objections from your
No,
patient?
no, it's not because of objections. It's because of time. Okay.
Any more
So-
questions?
Who's your youngest candidate this year?
I guess it's Miss DeCastro because I heard her say she was 24 or something to that effect. Yes, I think Miss DeCastro is the youngest candidate.
Any final questions before we wrap up? Well, thank you all for joining us today, and I hope this was informative. And do have a good afternoon.